right, we look live
We
on
look live.
stream. That's a good start. Everyone, hopefully the stream is working for you now. If not, go ahead and hit F5, which you can't hear if the stream is not working for you anyway, so I'll put that in chat. Hello, everyone. Is the audio okay for you guys?
Can you hear me?
I've been wrestling the bear that is OBS for the last half an hour, but I
It's true.
think I
I
think we
feel
found a workaround. Audio is Gucci Gang. That's exactly the kind of audio I strive for.
yeah.
Perfect. So, everyone, hello. Welcome to this very special episode of Top Clack. We're going to do a little bit of a Seattle meetup recap, I guess you could say. A little while back, Huey did one with Pudsey for the New York meetup, and you guys seem to appreciate that. So here we are. It's not going to be a terribly long stream, but it should be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the Seattle meetup and maybe share a few talking points and pictures here and there, and of course interact with chat as much as we can. As you can see, I have someone with me. You might recognize her as someone that's been on our show before, not too long ago. This is Cassidoo. She's a local keyboard enthusiast to Seattle, and she has been working hard to make the Seattle keyboard scene even better and better now that she is with C Keys, a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So just a little quick recap. Can you give us just some information about yourself, Cassidy?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Cassidy. A lot of people know me as the one who designed the Scrabble keycap set. And let's see, besides that, what do I do? Oh, yeah, I code a lot. I'm currently at Amazon, and I'm the head of developer voice programs, which means, long story short, I work on Alexa. But I actually just announced today that I'm switching over to CodePen, which is a cool company that I'm very excited about. And a lot of developers know about it, but people outside of the coding world don't know it very much. But yeah, that is kind of what I do in my day to day. And then outside of that, keyboards all day long.
Oh yeah, all keyboards, all day, every day. That's my life. That's the
Yeah.
dream. So, were you at the meetup like from beginning to end? Because I know it started really early, and I was not there for any of that shit because way
Yes.
too early for me.
Yeah, we got there bright and early, and the volunteers were there even early too. I keep wanting to just give so many shout outs to volunteers because they were there from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. just doing work and making it a very smooth event. And I got there a little later in the morning, probably like 8:30 or so, and I was giving a talk about designing the Scrabble keycap set, and there were some other really cool talks too. Um, but yeah, by the last morning talk, there were 167 attendees that had checked in, and then there were a ton more that came for the afternoon for the actual like keyboard showcase time.
Right on. Yeah, that's when I got there because it's a bit of a drive for me, so I didn't want
Yeah.
to, I can't be there too early. But I was there and I missed like all the cool things that happened before the actual beat up portion, which didn't start until about 2:30. So, could you give us like a little bit of a recap on what happened before the beat up itself? All the
Yeah.
kinds of like talks and programs that went down, because I heard there were a lot of different like classes almost and talks and such, but I didn't actually know what any of them are.
Right. The talks were awesome. So first of all, they had C Keys, which is the nonprofit that runs it, which I recently joined. They ran some hand wiring workshops and stuff just all day, starting at the beginning of the day and kept going. And then the actual talks were awesome. The first talk was from Atari Zero, and he talked about just making artisans, and it was one of the most practical artisan talks I've ever heard. Like he went through every single detail of every single product that you might need. He gave suggestions on like which resin versus another resin and stuff. And his talk was really interesting. And then after that was a talk by Isabella, who's in the community, Isabella Moriera, and she talked about just kind of an intro to keyboards, because in those first talks there was a really large number of beginners. Like I want to say something like 100 people, or like half the group was all just beginners who didn't know much about keyboards. And so she just went completely into the nitty gritty of keyboards, in terms of like switches, the differences between them, the different keycap profiles, what happens under the hood with the PCBs and programming them and cases, all kinds of stuff. So her talk was really good and interesting and perfect for beginners who didn't know a lot about keyboards. And a lot of people who did know a lot about keyboards learned something in there too, which was great. The next talk, which was my absolute favorite, was I think it was by a guy named like Paul Joe or something. His talk was on stenography, and it's all about like court reporters. They can type like 220 or 240 words per minute, and they were talking about how they added to the QMK framework stenography, where you can type in like chords of keys and just type super fast. And their demo was mind-blowing because he just started like live typing what was being said in the room, and then he also said, I'm also a software developer, and he just started writing JavaScript so fast. It was amazing. It made me really want to learn stenography, and they were talking about how you can pretty easily map your plank to a stenography set if you really wanted to do that, which made me want to get another plank. But yeah, and then my talk was in there, and then I'm trying to think if there was another talk after that. I think those were all the talks. I think there were just the 4 of those. But yeah, it was great in the morning. It was really, really interesting, and honestly more interesting than I expected it to be. It was a good group.
Nice. So I think there was like an artisan sculpting panel at some point as well.
Oh, right. I don't know how I forgot that. So there was an artisan panel right after that. And Tiny T, which a lot of people in the community know Tiny, she was moderating a panel of a bunch of artisan people. And I know Keyforge was there, and I forget the usernames of everybody in the group, but people who make a lot of caps that we know and love. And they were talking about how they all got into it. And almost all of them got into artisan making because they missed out on raffles and decided they were going to get into it themselves, which was kind of fun to hear. And they were talking about just their business models and how a couple of them have gone full-time making artisan keycaps, which is fascinating to me. And we were asking lots of questions on how they manage their time and how they do commissions and stuff. And then some people are still part-time doing it. And yeah, that was a really good panel discussion after that, right before lunchtime.
For sure. So, I actually know a lot of the artisans that were on the panel, and for those that might be curious, if you're into artisans, they're pretty high-profile people. Kudos of Key Collective was there. I mean, actually, Key Collective isn't really a thing anymore at the moment. He goes by Gaff now, also very popular. Super nice guy, does amazing things. Binge was there of Hungerwork Studio. He has a lot of really, really good stuff. He's really popular. Eat the Food was there, of course, Nightcaps, who just recently relocated to our awesome state of Washington. So he was talking there as well. So a lot of like these are some of like the most prolific artists in the community as far as artisans go. So that was probably something really cool to check out.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Cool. So what were some of your favorite parts of the meetup?
Oh man, so outside of the cool talks, the sponsors were actually really neat this year because they had such great display tables. Like Signature Plastics was there, and they had the most glorious display of SA keycaps that I will never be able to get my hands on, and it was really fun seeing a bunch of those caps in person, and that was awesome. And there was also just a bunch of other sponsors who had, for example, Fidget Cube. Designing stations where you could put different switches in there, and Novel Keys had a bunch of switches with that. And then there was also, I think it was called Orca Wrist Rests, and they make custom wrist rests in Washington. And I'd never heard of them, but they were super high quality, and it was exciting to see some of those. And then in terms of the actual like layout of the event, it was great. There were so many keyboards. I think I have some numbers. They said. So you could have the option to fill out pre-printed place cards for each of your keyboards, and there were 71 people who did that, and that accounted for about 244 keyboards. But a lot of people didn't do that, and so the general estimate is a little over 500 keyboards at the event, and so it was a ton to play with, which was really exciting. It was really fun playing with some of the keyboards that are interesting to me a lot lately are the ones with really heavy domes, and I haven't played with any of those personally myself, just because it kind of scares me to put the heavy domes into those Tobre keyboards. But it was fun to play with some of the people's keyboards that they made, and they had a typing station for just really heavy switches. I want to say it was like 200 or 300 G switches
Oh,
to see how fast.
yeah, I think they
Type.
called it the Strong Fingers Challenge or something
Yeah,
like that. And I think they use like 280-gram Tai greens or whatever they're called. They're actually terrible switches, but they are very, very heavy.
yeah. It was amusing to try. I did not do well in that type of contest. But then they also had a music contest, which was pretty neat. And oh, hi Tyler. Tyler just said hi in the chat. But anyway, what was cool about the music contest was it was originally supposed to be just program your keyboard to do as much as you can with music, and unfortunately a couple people had actual like physical soldering injuries and stuff, and they had to drop out of the
Oh,
contest,
wow.
which was a bummer. Yeah, one of the guys who participated, he came up to me and I was about to shake his hand, and he was just like, actually, and then he just showed this wound, and he was just like, I just wanted to build my keyboard before the meetup and it went wrong. But anyway, Mech Merlin, he made the most amazing keyboard piece where he learned how to play music on his keyboard and programmed the PCB to program into like a MIDI controller on his computer, and he played this beautiful little song. Hey Dixie Mech, and then after that, because there were no other people participating in the contest, we just kind of had a bunch of volunteers come and play music on an actual like piano keyboard that was hooked up to a bunch of stuff. And man, there were so many talented people at the event. I attempted, while we were getting more volunteers in the audience, and I just played like a little riff from Mario and threw a bunch of puns out there.
Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was a good time. I was really sad because I didn't include one about the Nintendo Switch. That was a missed opportunity to talk about Switches,
Ooh.
but the rest of the puns worked out, and it was a good time. But yeah, overall, I keep just naming a bunch of things because it's hard to name my favorite part of the event. I really just like being able to play with new keyboards and just see a bunch of people that you don't normally get to see in the community in person.
Absolutely. There were definitely a ton of people there. A lot more people flew in for this than I thought.
Yeah,
Because, like,
there was someone from south of France.
yeah, Outrage Pudding came out. He's from the south of France. I was really happy about that because him and I are pretty close.
Nice.
So it was really cool getting to actually like meet him from someone so far away in the world.
Yeah, I had a bunch of messages from Rama afterwards, and he was just like, "How's the meetup? Oh, I'm so sad that I didn't make it this time."
Yeah. What did you think about the actual like venue of the meetup this time? Now that you've gone also to the meetups at the Living Computer Museum.
I liked it. I personally am biased towards Living Computer because it's really close to where I live. But that being said, this meetup was great because the venue felt like we kind of owned the whole space. With the Living Computer Museum, you kind of have to avoid the exhibits and not sit on things and not touch things that aren't a part of the actual meetup. But this one was great because we just kind of had the entire space to ourselves. We were able to kind of make it a bit more of our own and just kind of take ownership of it. And I think that like we've gotten a lot of good feedback about the venue, and there are some pros and cons. Some people said that the AC went out at one point,
Oh
but
yeah.
overall, we've gotten a lot of good feedback about the venue, and I think we're thinking about going there again in the future.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I thought it was substantially worse than the Living Computers Museum.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, here's a couple of my reasons. I brought a lot of keyboards. I brought like 14 or 15 keyboards, most of them weighing quite a bit. Parking was actually like quite a bit of a walk to carry like 100 pounds worth of keyboards. So that kind of bothered me a little bit because I'm a fat guy. I don't want to walk. Like I just want to like open my door and get my keyboards out. So I had to I had to walk from like the parking area, which like wasn't like it was close to the actual venue, but not like super close. Like it was still like 5 minutes of walking or more. Then you had to go up several flights of stairs. I think there was an elevator, but I think I missed that my first time, so that was kind of my bad. But also, yeah, that and like you said, the AC went out. I thought I was like dying the whole time. I was sweating. There's like pictures of me and like I have so much like armpit sweat. It's like awful, like at the photo booth. But yeah, no, it felt like 100 degrees or more in there the entire time I was there. It was
Yeah.
rough for me.
Yeah, the AC was tough. I just kind of like popped a squat when I got hot. But I also didn't have the parking problem because I came so early. I parked like right out front and it was maybe a
Oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah,
so that was something that I probably should have let someone take that spot or something, but it was so early in the morning that we just nabbed it and didn't think anything of it. But yeah, I could see that being an issue. That's
yeah,
good to think about.
yeah. Also, the Living Computer Museum is much easier and faster for me to get to, just like it would have
Uh,
been for you.
yeah, exactly. It's nice for all the Southerners, but all the Northern people were just like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah. And also, my final reason would probably be because at the Living Computer Museum, you actually get a lot of keyboard history there as well. So,
True.
like, they have, like, a little upstairs area where they have, like, beam springs and Model Fs that are just in pristine condition and, like, all sorts of information. You can type on them. It's really, really cool. So it kind of, like, pays homage to what we're actually doing as well. Whereas
Yeah.
with the college venue, there's nothing there about that. It was just kind of our free space, which was cool in itself, but, just a little
Right.
bit different.
Yeah, I think it'll also come down to the size of the meetup too, because as more and more people get into this hobby, like the meetup has been growing tremendously. Like they were showing pictures from the original meetup when it was like
Six
10 people
people.
in a
Yeah.
yeah, 6 people in a basement, and then it became to like 10 people in a coffee shop and stuff. And so because it's so big, that's the problem with the museum. Whereas the college, like it can fit hundreds of people and hundreds more, and as a result, it was also like cheaper because it works specifically with nonprofits and everything, and so that those are bonuses. But yeah, if we found a way to keep the meetup smaller, I think the museum would be a better venue overall.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's pros and cons because then it's an opportunity cost of letting people get into the meetup who really want to, and then uh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you happen to know the final head count from attendees?
Yes, so we ended up with 307 checked in attendees, uh,
Wow.
which is a lot. Yeah,
That's a lot of people.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially with so many people bringing keyboards. That's why we said we had around 500 keyboards, because just everybody was bringing them, and a lot of people brought way more than three. So it was great because it was such a huge amount of people. And then there were 15 volunteers total. And again, 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. It was amazing. The volunteers did such a good job. And yeah, the donation drive was great too. We had a lot of donated prizes and donated funds and stuff, which was able to make the meetup possible, and all the giveaways possible too, because there were tons of giveaways. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay. So I made a little bit of a blunder before the stream, and I forgot to set up a a different overlay, I guess, for like sharing pictures and such.
Oops.
So I'm gonna have you talk about some kind of talking point for the meetup while I very crudely set that up in real time. It
Okay.
won't take me long.
Cool. Also, am I frozen?
Are you?
Because
Let's
I
find out.
I switched tabs over to the stream and I look very concerned and not moving, which is fine. Just wanted to throw it out there.
In my live preview, you look fine.
Okay, and now I look fine too, so I'll take it.
Okay, hopefully that was just a hiccup and that
Okay,
won't happen again.
cool. I'm back.
All
Sorry,
right,
that was just my body.
it's okay.
Um,
I'm gonna very very quickly and crudely set this up in real time in OBS. So I apologize if this looks really stupid on stream, guys. But you should still be able to hear us either way.
cool. While you set it up, I can give some little pitches for my Scrabble keycap set. I got
Absolutely.
color samples. Whoa! And the color samples look super good. Which right now you can't really see them because the stream is being put together. But the color samples look really good, and they match the Pantone chips perfectly, which is really exciting. And I've been getting lots of color samples and had to pick between like really small variants between all the different switches. And it's fun to finally see them be real, and make the set kind of come to life. And now I'm kind of doing all the testing with the legends. And I know that there were some pictures that Yanbo posted in the drop, and a lot of people weren't happy because the legends were smaller than they expected. But that being said, I fixed it, and so I'm getting the new set of keys soon, and so I'll be able to actually mess with it and see how close it is to the final thing. And we're hoping to get everything shipped by the end of the month, which is really exciting.
Fantastic.
Mm.
Okay, sorry, I'm still working on
It's
this.
it's okay.
Sorry,
Oh no.
guys. This was totally my fault. Very unprofessional of me, but that's sometimes how it goes.
Here's the blue. I also have a bag of like the previous color samples, so you can get a little insights on the actual small, minute differences. For the reds, they just gave me 3 bags, A, B, C. Honestly, they look exactly the same, but you know, they weren't. So I had to go through and like put everything in the broad sunlight and look at them with Pantone chips and be able to pick out the correct color for each color in the set to make sure that it matched just perfectly, which was fun. It was a little nuts, and I was surprised how detailed it would be. I always pictured just like, cool, these are the colors, great. I'll see it when it comes back. But yeah, it's kind of fun to see the real thing and get a little bit more insight into the manufacturing process. One thing I will say is I'm very glad I'm not doing this on my own. Like I don't mean to be like a mascot for Massdrop or anything, but man, Massdrop really has taken care of so much of the pain of the manufacturing process, and it's so nice as a cap designer to be able to just say, "This is what I want," and then they go and do it and check with me and everything, and I don't have to deal with communicating with manufacturers and making sure samples are being printed correctly and doing all of the quality checks and stuff. Ooh, your
Yes.
picks are up.
Yeah, this is just some pics that I took that we can talk about once I
Okay.
get this like fully done.
It
Oh
happens.
my god. Okay, this shouldn't be too bad. Why can't I? Oh my god, for real. Oh well.
No, we're doing it live. It's okay.
Yeah, F it. It's going live. This should be okay. Um, I don't know why OBS isn't letting me trim this window. That's very strange. Okay, whatever, I suppose. You guys just get my browser details there as well. So, anyways, that should be good. So let's take a quick look at some of these pictures I took. Most of them were just kind of fun because I thought they were kind of interesting. So this first pic here is actually Outrage Pudding's sleeve, custom made sleeve for his M65, and as you can tell, it's a lot of Rama and a lot of meme.
It's so funny.
So it's pretty fantastic. Um, I don't know why. I had to take a picture of it because it was just so darn goofy.
That's spectacular. I wonder how Rama feels about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard he doesn't like it because Rama's like a very professional kind of guy. He doesn't like unprofessional things that involve him. And I
Right.
mean, memes aren't exactly the most professional thing in the world.
Style.
So there's that. Um, this is very unassuming. Just a little plonk with GMK laser on it. But the reason why this was hilarious, I'll actually get to that right now. Hopefully, if I can. I think I took a picture of it at some point. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so in this picture, you can see the same plonk. This was like in full force the meetup. This table only had one keyboard on it, and every other table there was like 30 or 40 tables or something. Every table was like filled with keyboards except for this one, and this one was like right in the middle of the meetup. There's no reason why more
Funny.
keyboards could not have been here.
Sorry, my fire alarm is going off. 1 second.
Sure, that's okay. I'm gonna. That's fine. I'm gonna mute you on stream, so ideally they can't hear this until it's off. All right, sounds good. I'm putting
Okay,
you back on
I'm
now.
back. I'm back. Sorry about that.
Rip everyone's ears, but that's okay. Top Clack has been through way worse.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It really is. So, anyways, yeah. So there was just nothing else on this table. Just this one guy's plunk. That was it. And what was funny is Yanbo of Mastrop, who I hilariously captured somewhere around here. There we go, rocking his laser wear. He was like walking around like with custom laser cables, and he was like just like giving them to people with like cool laser boards. Dang. And he had one more to give away, and he's like, "Hey, yo, you know what he won with like a sweet laser board that wants like a cable?" And I was like, "Oh wait, come with me." And I brought him over to that keyboard. And I was like, this guy could probably use one. And he just like plugged it in and then walked away. It was pretty fantastic. So,
I was able to nab some socks from Yanbo, so
I was too. I was like, you got to give me a pair of those, man. So now I have a pair of the socks, and I actually have a shirt, but I don't think either are going to fit me, so it's kind of irrelevant.
It's okay. You can make a poster of it or hang it somewhere.
Yeah, that's the hope at least. So, next thing I was kind of curious about was the guy that's behind the Atreus project was there as well.
Oh man, I totally missed him.
Yeah, really nice guy. I got to talk to him for a little bit, and he had some cool stuff going on. So one thing he had that you can see in this picture right now is this like kind of portable, I don't know, display thing going on that attaches to an Atreus. Then he had this this strap. So like what you do is like you wear it, you put it over yourself, and like it's like a shoulder strap, and then you use the Atreus on your waist. So like you look down and you type, and the screen looks back up at you because of the angle, but you're typing parallel to your body. Huh. And then the screen looks up, and he had some kind of Android phone in here for this particular prototype. And I thought that was pretty interesting, to be totally honest. Yeah. And he was like, "Dude, you gotta wear it." And I was like, "I'm good, man. Like, I just want to check it out." But I saw
can't see being that productive that way. But I mean,
yeah, I don't know. This is kind of just an early idea, I think, and he kind of just wanted to show it off, which
yeah.
I thought it's creative. Like, it's fun, the kind of things
clever.
that people get into with keyboards and the projects people come up with.
Is it for standing or laying down?
For standing. Like, so the way he was displaying it was, you put the strap over your wrist, the Atreus sits parallel to your waist. It sits on your waist, parallel to your body, and then the screen is angled. So, like, you look down and you're looking at the screen because it's looking back up at you.
Right.
And so you just type on your waist, kind of like, Batman's utility belt or whatever.
I get that. I just picture myself looking down for so long that, like, I lose muscles in my neck and can't lift my head anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know how practical this truly is, but it was just fun to see. And he was obviously very proud about it, and it was kind of a feel good moment. But yeah, it was interesting. He also had let's see if I can find it. Okay, he gave me a business card, and I thought this was just one of the most adorable things of all time. So hopefully autofocus can catch that. But his business card is just like a layer of acrylic that's kind of like carved into the shape of an Atreus, and it says Atreus there.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. He was a really nice guy. Cool. But yeah, like I kind of like where this is going. I'd like to see some maybe more like sleek applications be done for this kind of thing, because I think it'd be kind of fun just to carry around a mechanical keyboard and type on it like as you go.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm totally down. It might be cool if there were a way to connect that with like Pokemon Go, because then you could be walking and typing in some way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only application I could think of right now. But you don't really type in Pokemon Go. So yeah.
That's true.
Still in theory, TBD.
So what do you guys in chat think? Is this like practical? Would any of you guys ever use anything like this? What kind of applications do you guys think you could come up with if you had this very peculiar setup?
Have you seen lazy glasses?
I have not.
So they are glasses that are similar to this, only you put them on your face, and it's a diagonal mirror across it, and so it lets you look directly down. And it's great when you're laying down in bed and you can watch TV or type on your computer, and it's like you're looking straight across, except you can lay down all the way. hence the name Lazy Glasses. And it would be great to combine those with this.
Yeah.
Because then you can be typing, still looking straight up, arms down, and potentially be in a good posture. But yeah, that's a lot of contraptions to solve a problem that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, that's true. What was that one glass? Was it Google Glass? Like,
Oh
do you
yeah,
remember that?
I have one.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh my god, is it really, really bad or really,
I mean,
really okay?
it was fine. The battery lasted maybe 15 minutes. Um, it wasn't. I don't think so. I got it as a student, and it was just one of those things where, like, I'm a student. I'm gonna make apps, and I got this like scholarship to get one, and it was very cool. And I was living in Silicon Valley at the time, so it was kind of just like I'm edgy. I'm in the know. And then as soon as I left Silicon Valley, nobody had them, and I was just like, I've been living in a bubble this entire time, and it was not useful. It was great when I could say, what time is it? But besides that, like it you couldn't like watch things on it because that's not what it was for. It was meant for just like quick glances. Um, and I don't think we're at that point in the world yet to be able to just like glance up and it be reasonable with
Yeah, I mean,
this
it seemed a
society.
little silly, and it seemed like it kind of flopped overall.
Oh, it totally did. I think like someday in the future, something like that will exist.
But I
I
think
totally think that. But
I think something like this might be kind of cool, or just like having a keyboard on you that you can type like at your waist or something, like
yeah,
with something like Google Glass, where like
right.
you have your screen on your eyes, but you can still see the real world, and you just like throw your hands down your waist and you start typing whatever you need to. I
Yeah.
think that'd be pretty
Someone
sick.
mentioned the HoloLens in the chat. The HoloLens
Mm.
is cool. I think it is very different from Google Glass though. Like when I try it, it feels much more immersive and it's like it's not quite VR and it's not quite AR because you kind of you feel like you're in an experiment. Sorry, my fire.
It's all good. I'm gonna mute you again until it goes off. Anyways, while we're waiting for that to go off, I'm gonna move on to one of the next picks I took.
Free.
Okay, sounds good.
My word.
All right,
I'm
so
sorry everyone for the
hey,
alarms.
it's all good. This is like a normal top clack thing. Like everything's going wrong. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
We just
It's
gotta make
very
the best of
normal.
what we have. Anyways, this next one was kind of interesting. I tried to only take pictures of things that I thought were like really different, and this guy was basically trying to make custom beam spring.
Oh.
So
I think I missed that aspect of it.
yeah, this was kind of interesting. So he kind of basically took it out of the shell, and he was trying to like work on like a housing for it and like a new plate, I think, or something. I don't remember all the specs. I didn't actually talk with him. There were actually a lot of beam springs there. I think I saw like 6 or 7 of them just in the main keyboard area, which I thought was kind of strange. I feel like those were pretty hard to track down for that many to be at a Seattle meetup.
Yeah.
But
Huh.
yeah, this was kind of cool. Beam spring, obviously, if you're unaware, is a pretty vintage thing, but it's like kind of heralded as the best kind of clicky experience you can have. The switches are very nice. They feel fantastic. It's smooth. The click is like deep and crisp, and some or all of the models I think come with a solenoid, so it kind of beefs up that click and feedback for you. It's really like almost an unexplainable experience to type on one if you never have. But yeah, so Beamspring, pretty cool. This was fun to check out. This next one I thought was also really, really interesting. And this guy was like also insanely proud of his production here. So this was a magnetic reed switch keyboard. And this guy had a little broken down switch here to kind of explain how things worked. And this is actually like all hand wired on the inside, and it supports QMK.
So cool.
So yeah, this was really cool, and I didn't take a picture of it unfortunately, but like from the back here that you can't see in this picture, you can kind of see into like the internals of the keyboard, and he just has like it's so much hand wiring, like it's insane. 'Cause
That's That's
so many
amazing.
keys. Like there's so many keys. But this was really fun. It felt pretty cool. It's like a really interesting linear kind of switch, and you know, it's a magnetic reed switch. So I'm not too familiar with it, but the way I think you kind of explained it, correct me if I'm wrong here, someone, but like the way you know, there's a magnet like on the bottom, and when it hits the magnet, when you press down, that's how it knows you activated the switch. So you get a little less interference with the travel, I guess, as you otherwise would with a more standard traditional switch that we, you know and love, like a cherry switch, for example, which has actuation leafs and like legs on the slider, so you don't get any of that extra contact. So it's pretty smooth, pretty satisfying, and I thought this was a really nice find, a really nice project for this guy.
Oh, Nebulent asked, is that like a Hall effect switch? Oh, that's a good question.
That
Hall effect
is a
is
good
magnet
question.
based, right?
Hall effect is it magnetic?
I think it is. I don't know if it's to the extent that this is, but I'm pretty sure that's magnet based.
Someone in chat will correct us. I know if Huey's still in chat, he'll know because he has beam spring and Hall
Right.
effect and stuff like that.
All that
Not
jazz.
yeah, um, yeah. So that was pretty cool. This next one was really random. This picture really doesn't capture it, but this keyboard was really strange. So these caps are like absurdly flat and like fairly flush with the keyboard, and when you first glance at it in real life, it looks like it's like a piece of paper and everything's drawn on.
Huh.
And I had like two or three people like grab me and be like, "You gotta come look at this." And like you just look at it from above, and it's like I thought it was fake at first because it looks like a piece of paper when you're just
Yeah.
looking at it. But no, it was a very real and functioning keyboard, and the switches actually felt kind of good.
Huh.
It was like a scissor rubber dome kind of thing. And, yeah, this was very strange but very interesting. And this layout is also very strange. I didn't really realize it until now.
You caught so many unusual boards I missed. I mean, there were also hundreds.
Yeah,
Hundreds of
there were
boards.
so many boards, and you know we're kind of used to seeing a lot of the same kind of stuff, which is fine.
Mhm.
But yeah, I tried to pick out like some of the more interesting ones that I found.
Yeah.
This next one is the prototype of the Scarlet Bandana from Tennis Shoe Ninja, and
Oh yeah, that one was cool.
yeah, I'm trying to wait. Who is it's by Woodkeys, I think. Woodkeys.click, I think, is the one that actually runs the Scarlet Bandana. Anyways, I could be wrong, but this was pretty epic board. It was very heavy and very nice.
I
And
like heavy boards.
that's yeah. Most people do. Most people kind of attribute weight to how premium something is, which isn't necessarily the way to go about it, but it's just kind
Yeah,
of
I have some light boards that I really like, but then they almost feel flimsy next to my other boards, and so it's a tough balance.
yeah. So that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen one of those in person yet. This table wasn't terribly interesting, to be totally honest. I don't know why I took a picture of this. Oh, I don't know if I actually took a better picture, but this keyboard here in the back is like a custom machine steel case
Huh.
by Platabear, and it weighs like somewhere like 15 or 16 or 17 pounds. It is
Dang.
absolutely insane. That's kind of really the only like super interesting thing on this table, except there's a Fiel also. Some nice boards, but you know.
Yeah.
This is one of Gadgetable's boards. I took this picture because I had never seen this set before. This is like an Imsto, kind of like funky Hangul set from like 2008,
Huh.
and I like fell in love with this, and I felt like I absolutely had to have it. And
That's
then
cool.
then he had a nice little Mech 27 here. But the main reason I like this one was because of the wrist rest. This is like a custom wrist rest from Kaz, and it has like this little heart on it, and it's absolutely adorable.
I'm liking. There seems to be a trend of like really cool pink boards lately, and I'm digging it.
Yeah, that's starting to become more of a color for the
Yeah.
keyboard community.
Pink and purple. I've seen a lot more purple coming out.
And like I showed you earlier, Yanbo repping his laser wear. That guy is so goofy, man. I love him.
Yeah.
And this is actually Novel Pro. If you're unfamiliar, this is the prototype for Novel Key's new keycap profile coming up. So he has this displayed here on a Novatouch, yeah,
Yeah.
Norbitouch. So this was pretty awesome as well. I got to spend a little bit of time typing on this. Not really enough time to have like a good idea. More just like I typed on it, and to me, it didn't feel that different from SA in the very brief experience I had with it. So I wasn't terribly a fan, but I could see it being pretty attractive. Also, this is just a 3D printed
It,
prototype, so
it
it,
felt to me almost like it was in between SA and what was like the Dev TTY set that Mito came out with? That high profile
oh
set.
yeah, MT3 by
MT3.
Mateo, actually, not
Yeah.
Mito,
Sorry.
but yeah, yeah, it felt similar to that as well.
Right. It felt like a combo, and forgive me for the designer mistake. But yeah, like the deep cups were kind of fun to type on.
Yeah, I wasn't terribly a fan, but I will definitely reserve final judgment until it actually hits the market.
Yeah.
Because I'm never really into like high profile sets. I don't really care for SA. I thought MT3 was nice, but still a little too tall for me. I don't really get into high profile, so that's definitely very subjective.
Yeah.
So there's just a couple pics of that. Looks pretty cool. I liked the scoops. Like they're very they conform to your fingers, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I like that a
I
lot.
like scoops. Those are fun. It's kind of like typing on all homing keys, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Did I try putting Cat next to Novel Pro? I did not, but I should have. Cat is definitely a lower profile and a less aggressive sculpt. So this one I was pretty happy with. So I didn't even know this was a thing, but Mike of Novel Keys has been working on a 65% keyboard, and he had a prototype there, which I was not expecting. So this is pretty cool. He's got like this is the bottom, obviously. He's got a little branding there, and the seam is on the bottom, like entirely. So you don't see any seam. I'll show you the picture coming up here. But he's also got these long rubber feet, which is becoming a little bit more popular lately, which I really like. I vastly prefer this kind of application over just like using four really cheap, shitty bump-ons.
Right.
This is a lot more elegant. Here's
I
kind of a
really
side.
like I really liked that you don't see any of the screw holes.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not 100% sure like how this is put together. I think one of the drawbacks is like it's possible that the screws are under the feet, and
Yeah.
like if you want to consistently take your board apart like over and over and over again, you have to remove the feet and put them back on or something, which is going to lose the adhesive nature of the strip. So I'm not 100% sure how that's handled. Hopefully we can get some more information on that
I
soon.
I tried asking him about it, and it was like crazy, so we I couldn't get a lot of answers, but it sounded like it was just that like it was it was under the caps and just into the bottom of the case, and then just the bottom
Oh,
of the
okay.
case stopped before before it was exposed. And so I think that that's how that works.
That totally
Um,
makes sense, and that is way better than the alternative method.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's how it is, and I guess we'll see when more final prototypes come out. He said that that one was actually a misprint because, as you can see, the backspace is messed up a little bit there.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So if you're wondering what's going on here, here's kind of a side up angle of the exact same prototype. There's a little space missing here. This is a 65%, so that space missing kind of makes it look like a TGR 910, which has a blocker there. But this is actually a mistake. It's supposed to be a very normal 65%, so that blank space there won't actually be in the final revision. It'll be a much more standard 65% layout.
Hmm.
It is high profile, which is always A plus in my end. So he's also got some notification LEDs here, is what I'm pretty positive those are, which is pretty cool. I like seeing little dots there. And yeah, I think it's like it's not necessarily tray mount, but it kind of is. But
Yeah,
we'll have some more info
I
on that
didn't look
soon.
too closely under the caps, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
exactly. Okay, okay, so I do see a little screw here, so that does make sense. Okay. So I talked to him about this for a little bit, and he was really, really, really adamant about trying to launch this at like $150, which is like the entire case, the plate, and the PCB,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty good, but also pretty ambitious. So hopefully we can see what kind of prices this will actually end up as. Because at $150 for a kit, I think that'd be pretty good. And I think he actually is including, or he's trying to include, stabilizers and a cable in the kit as
That
well,
would be
which
great.
would be like nuts value. So hopefully we can get some more info on that soon, because I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a real winner if he gets down to the price point that he's hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that is actually the end of my album, so I'm going to bring us back to the slightly more professional layout, where things look a little bit smoother. So,
What are you talking about? This is a perfect.
yeah. Anyways, if anyone in chat has questions, obviously feel free to ask. We're kind of just chilling here. It's a pretty casual thing. I'm not going to do a dedicated Q&A section, but if you guys have questions, we are hopefully here to answer them. Isn't MDA older than Cat? Yes, I think so. Cat's pretty new. What exactly is MDA though? It's not like, is that a sculpted XDA?
Sure. Did you talk about Steno yet? Yes, we talked about it earlier, Tyler. It was awesome. Man, I want to learn stenography now, but I know that that's going to consume a lot of me and I need to work. But it looks so fun.
Okay, so MDA is mixed profile. I
Gotcha.
don't know why I always forget that. I knew that. Yeah, no, mix has been around for longer than Cat. Cat hasn't even like officially launched yet, and mix has been around for quite a few months at the very least.
A bunch of boards that I played with at the meetup that I didn't expect to like were the really low profile planks. I normally go for more high profile keys and or keycaps and like really thick boards and everything. And man, the really thin board and the really low profile switches, especially after the stenography talk where I was just like, oh man, that could fit perfectly. It was upsetting how much I wanted one. And so now I have to wait for the next one to come out.
Yeah. Did you get to try the Hex Gears X1? I think it was, which was like kind of the TKL, but it was also low pro with the new KO low profile switches.
I think I did. I think I did.
I got to try that. That was actually pretty darn nice.
Yeah.
Have
Man,
we talked about Cassidy's keyboard rap?
I think they mean my spoken word. And
Yeah, it was like more of like a pun poem, I think.
yeah.
As
It,
opposed
it
to
wasn't even a poem. It was truly just me pulling puns out of my butt. But I appreciate that
Well,
it was called both a poem and a rap.
it was pretty good for pulling that out of your ass. So to be totally honest, I don't remember most of the puns, but I remember at the time being like, "Ha, it's pretty good."
Yeah. So I was talking because I was playing like the Mario riff. I was talking about game development and like working in shifts and how you need to be like in control of what you type. I forget what all of them were. Again, I'm really upset I didn't make a Nintendo Switch joke. That could have really sealed the deal, but it was a good time. Don't you throw tomatoes at me, missing piece.
Toasty Party asking, "When are your streams? I heard they are fantastic and fun for programming and the such."
Oh, thanks, Toasty Party. So I did stream a lot with Alexa. And so, like, if you go to twitch.tv/Amazon Alexa, you can see some of the stuff that my sister and I have done. And that has been pretty fun. Ooh, I think I woke up the ones in my house. That being said, something that I mentioned very early on in the stream is I actually left Alexa, and my last day is tomorrow. So that being said, my sister and I still want to keep streaming, and so we're kind of figuring out where our channel will live and how that'll work. So follow me on Twitter. Cassadoo is my name, and that's my Twitter handle and everything, and I'll mention it at some point.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna wait just a moment for any last minute questions if you guys have any, and after that we will be heading off. because it is getting late for normal people around here. Not for me. I'm not normal.
East Coasters too. It's super late.
Yeah.
We also had one thing I did want to throw out there. We had a donation drive where we ended up with like a tub full of donated keycaps and switches and just other keyboard building supplies for people just dropping off items that they didn't need anymore. And so that's going to go towards C-Keys workshops for helping minorities in tech and just helping people learn how to solder and everything. And so that was a really exciting aspect of the meetup too that I forgot to mention earlier.
Cool. So what exactly do you do for C-Keys now? I think Brandon mentioned your position or whatever in C-Keys, and I was like, yeah. I don't know what that means.
My position is totally made up. So
as a lot of positions tend to be.
Yeah, and so I joined as the quote unquote director of outreach, and so far that has consisted of me occasionally talking on behalf of C-Keys, and I think what I'm going to try to do is see if we can get more sponsors and stuff that aren't just kind of throwing a couple of switches this way, because we're a very underfunded nonprofit, and so we have to be very frugal. And it would be ideal to be able to have a partner like one of the big tech companies out here in Seattle who has a very large budget and might care for little nonprofits like us. And so that's kind of where I think I'm going to target a lot of my focus. But I truly joined the week before the meetup, and so I'm still kind of seeing what's needed from me.
Awesome.
Toasty party. How about Amazon? Yeah, we'll see. Unfortunately, I know the innards of the beast, and I know how long that might take to make that happen.
Mog Genius is asking, did you get to try Novel Pro at all? I didn't catch the whole stream. Yeah, I actually just talked about it about 5 or 10 minutes ago while I was showing off pictures of it. The VOD will be available both on Twitch and YouTube, and we will have a podcast version up on Podbean as well. So all of our normal stuff covered there, all the platforms. So if you want to go back and check that out, you definitely can. Long story short is, I am not totally sold on it yet, but I also don't care for high-profile keycap sets. It's just the way it works. Soitar is asking, how did Mike's board feel to type on? The Proto board, not the Novel Pro. I didn't type on it for long enough to really get a judgment. So I can't really comment on that. It felt fine. I don't even remember what switches he had in it, to be totally honest. I was more interested in looking at the prototype and looking at all the kind of ins and outs of it as opposed to actually just typing on it, which I totally should have done. But I'm sure we'll probably get a prototype at some point, maybe to check out. Mike is usually really good about letting Top Clack check out that kind of stuff, so hopefully we can have some awesome judgment once that has happened. Toasty Party is asking, okay, random question for the sake of the stream. What keyboard are you typing on right now, Cassidoo?
Oh man, I actually have all of my keyboards downstairs, and I just brought up my laptop for this. And so I don't have a mechanical keyboard on me, which is unusual, but I do have plenty of caps that I can play with. But the board that I have been typing on the most recently is kind of a rotation between... I have Welfare 96 with Kale Box Brown switches and GMK Oblivion. And then the other one that I've been switching off with is my White Fox that has Zelios. I think 67G tactile Zelios.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Gio is asking, does C-Keys have a donate page?
It doesn't, but it should. You know what? Might be the...
How has that not been a thing yet?
Yeah, we have a sponsor page where you can email us and say, hey, I will help. But we should have a donate page. That is a great idea, and I'm going to bring it up as soon as I get off of this stream.
That seems like a really, really crucial thing for any nonprofit.
It really is. I don't know why we don't have one. Unless there's one that I don't know about, but then that's also a problem that I wouldn't know about it. So, overall, there are problems. We'll figure that out.
Oh, James is saying it's already there. ckeys.org/donate.
Oh, I totally missed it. It's not in
the
main menu, is it? Oh, there it is. It's right after home. I just totally skipped the word donate and went straight to sponsor. Cool. Nice. I'm a liar.
That's okay. We're all liars here. All right, so yeah, if anyone wants to donate to C Keys, which is the Seattle kind of like keyboard organization nonprofit that a few of our awesome local people are a part of, make sure you donate there. It goes to a good cause. All the people that volunteer for the meetups and all the work that people like Brandon and Cassidy put into things. You know, it's a nonprofit, so they don't get paid. And like Cassidy was saying earlier, we had so many volunteers working like 12 hours on that meetup day, like actually working, doing stuff, not just like meandering around the meetup. So, you know, it's money going to a good place, basically.
Totally.
Huey is asking.
Major shout outs to Brandon. Brandon has limitless energy.
Dude,
he was.
It's unreal, right?
He just was running around the meetup doing everything and was still happy as a clam the entire time. It was great.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that needs to always be doing everything.
Yes.
And kudos to him, because I am the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, I'm very good initially, and then I kind of, my introverted nature kind of starts to take over towards the end of the day. But until then, it's great. Let's see. Wow, Toasty Party, thank you so much.
Dang, yo.
That's so kind of you.
That is great. That is great. Toasty's a very nice chap. Huey is asking, what was the most surprising keyboard that you didn't like? Huh. I have to think about that. I don't know if I typed on something I didn't. Oh no, I lied. Actually, it was one of the boards that I showed off in the album I took just a little bit ago. You can catch it in the VOD. But the board that had the Insto caps on it that Gadgeable had Nixdorf switches in them, and I think most Nixdorf switches are pretty bad. They're basically just like a vintage black, and these particular ones were wildly inconsistent and not smooth at all. So every time I type on a Nixdorf board or a board with Nixdorf switches, I'm just like, these are not that good. I don't understand why people pay like $5 a switch for these, because it's just a vintage black that looks different. But I mean, the board looked amazing. Like the board he had it on looked amazing. The caps are amazing, but Nixdorf switches are straight up not that good.
Nice. I can't think of any boards that I didn't enjoy typing on there. They all had their own little charm. So I can't think of any good ones. I did see that he also asked about surprising boards that you loved.
Oh, did he?
I think that was right after. I've lost my place in the chat. But in terms of surprising boards I loved, man, it was the low profile plank. I did not expect to like it. Again, I'm normally a very high profile person. Pun. But I like high profile boards typically, and man, I really liked it, and it's changing my perspective on everything, and it's blowing my mind a bit.
I think a board that might have surprised me the most was actually so Mastrop was there, Yanbo was there with Duncan, and one of their new guys, I think Evan is his name. They're all cool people, and they had a bunch of different things. They had like the Mastrop control, which I mean, we could argue whether it is or is not a ripoff of the K-type till the ends of the earth, but we'll save that for another time. Doesn't really matter. But they had the smaller version, the Alt, which is like the 65% version of it, and it's kind of like, it's low profile, but they had the laser version there, and it has like the RGB strip on it, and it had GMK laser on it, and I was like, this is actually a pretty sweet board. And I was like, you should send me one of these to check out. He was like, okay, because Mastrop is cool. But yeah, that board actually kind of surprised me. I was just poking around, like the way they do their magnetic feed is a little bit different from the K-type, for example. It was like, they're like little singular things with angle on them instead of the bar, but they're still magnetic. I thought that was really, really interesting. The build quality actually seemed surprisingly decent, and it felt pretty good to type on.
It was heavier than I expected.
Yeah, and the RGB works pretty well. No surprise there. So I'm hoping to get a review sample of that, because I think I would love to check out that board a little bit more.
Yeah, I really liked they had the Rocketeer prototype too.
They did.
And, That was so heavy. It was cool. I kind of wish that
What?
they had the correct color there so I could see what that would look like in person. But man, that was a really just heavy. It felt high quality board, and it's making me question things because I wasn't planning on getting it. But
I completely disagree with you. I picked it up expecting it to be heavy, and I thought it was crazy light.
oh well, there you go. I'm
Um.
also weak, so that could
Oh,
play a
okay.
part in it.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with you're probably not used to using like 60% that are 5 pounds,
That's
and
also
whereas
true.
like that's most of my collection, so I'm like used to picking up really hefty boards. So that might have
Gotcha.
something to do with it.
Yeah, it is definitely like significantly heavier than the 60% I have.
Yeah. Alt Fox. Yeah, I guess the alt is kind of like a White Fox equivalent. Although it's really more just like a shrunk down control or K type esque thing. Gotta have Cassidy pick up an E6 V2 Founders Edition now.
Oh man.
So that's a completely brass board.
That would be so fun
It's
and so heavy.
have you weighed it yet, Huey? Do we have a final weight? Because it's probably got to be like anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds, I
That's
imagine.
crazy.
And it's a 60%, so it's pretty small too, very dense.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was also incredibly expensive. 7
7
pounds, five
pounds,
ounces.
5 ounces. Dang.
Yep, that's pretty heavy. Yeah, I don't know if I was really surprised by any other boards though,
Yeah,
like
and
for better
well,
or worse.
some that was surprised by, but it was not so much surprise as it was I haven't tried this before and it was cool. Was all the heavy domed boards because I normally am just kind of like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but it's fine. But I really liked playing with some of them that had those heavy thocks. I don't think I could type on them regularly because they were so heavy, but they were fun to poke around with.
Are you disappointed that you weren't surprised, Brian? Yes. So the problem is like now that I've tried so much like in my own time and I've been to so many meetups that like whenever I'm like walking around looking at boards, like it's much harder for me to be like, oh, that's cool, or like, oh, that's new. Like it's generally stuff that I've seen and felt and used before.
You've lost your sense of wonder.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I still find a lot of things interesting, but it's it's less cool than it used to be, I guess, when I was newer. But that
Yeah,
that kind of just comes. Yeah, I was disappointed with the AC. There you go. I was
yeah.
very disappointed with the AC in that room.
I'm sorry.
But oh well, that's how it goes.
What
It
can you
was
do?
still, I mean, overall, it was still a very very fun meetup. I'm always just a nitpicky kind of person.
And it's good to have all kinds.
That's right. All right. So now that we are caught up with questions, I think now is probably a good time to call it quits. Unless you
Yeah.
have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share about the meetup or anything in general.
Someone's asking, are you planning on coming to the NorCal Bay Area meetup in November? TBD, probably not. Mostly because I'm cheap when it comes to non-keyboard things, but we'll see.
But it is a keyboard thing.
That's true, but it's not buying a keyboard. I guess if I could guarantee a raffle win, I'll consider it.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see. I would like to, but yeah, we'll see if I can make my way south. Oh yes, Sea Keys is going to sell T-shirts soon, and you can totally
Oh,
support us in that way.
yeah. I'm actually I put on my Sea Keys meetup shirt. This was the one
Nice.
from the most recent meetup. It's awful on this camera, obviously, but it's got little caps and random stuff. And
It's
they're
really
all
cute.
it's adorable, yeah. Just like the last one was. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, they've been doing a really good job in designing these shirts.
Yeah.
They're
Brandon
not
just overworking himself as usual.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
also, I
it's
totally forgot to say, but this was something I was supposed to talk about. I told Yanbo I'd talk about this. So, bam, Mastrop is hiring product. No, so check out this position: product lead, mechanical keyboards. You guys in the California area? I think they're in San Francisco, is where the headquarters is. But yeah, if you
said
want if you
they've
want to
said they
check
would
out,
consider opening up a Seattle branch in the future too.
that would be
So
cool.
it's an option
Yeah.
for the right person.
For yeah, so they're definitely looking for people. I told them they have to post like in keyboard forums like as well, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get to that eventually." I'm like, "Well, you're not going to attract keyboard people if you don't post where they are."
Yeah.
So
I think they're worried about the onslaught of resumes that they'll probably receive.
yeah. Well, apparently they've been looking for someone for a while, and like
They have. I actually visited their office. Oh, how long ago was that? That was in like May. Um, and they immediately were just like, by the way, we're looking for this position. I was like, I'm not moving here. But
yeah.
but yeah, no, they've definitely been looking for a while, and I think they've just been kind of passive about it, but are going to start being more active, especially now that they have this new recruiter fella.
For sure. They've been looking since February. Yeah, so it's been a while, but I'm trying to hound them to start actually posting around
Yeah.
like the community, so that way people can actually see, because not a lot of people knew, honestly. So if you're interested in being a mechanical keyboard product lead at Massdrop, then you should harass Yonbo.
Such a good job.
Yep. So there is that. Cyber Sam, thank you so much for the sub via Twitch Prime. Appreciate that. And of course, shout out to all of our sponsors for the Top Clack streams. We got Z Frontier, Zeal Generation, Input Club, and Novel Keys. So thanks to all of them for helping us do what we don't do best, but what we love to do. if the quality of this stream is any indication. But so that's just how it goes. But hype the 2-year anniversary. Oh yes, of course. So 2-year anniversary for Top Clack coming up soon. It starts. Okay, so the anniversary episode is on the 23rd of this month, but we're starting competitions for giveaway stuff and raffle stuff on this upcoming episode on Thursday the 9th.
Oh,
so
man.
it's, if anyone was around for last year's, it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of different competitions you could enter and a lot of cool things you could win. It was very much like the more effort you put in things, the better your chances of winning were, and that's not really an exception this year as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of good times to really get in there and get those creative juices flowing. I'm not going to tease any of the competitions yet, but we're launching at least one of them, but potentially all of them on Thursday of this week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you check out that episode, whether it's live or VOD or AOD format, and then you'll have some time to work on some stuff and get your creative juices flowing. It's gonna be great. Seriously, you're not gonna miss it. You're not gonna want to miss it, at least. We have a lot of the prizes already in, or at least we know what a lot of them are going to be, and there's some stuff, man. We got some high-profile shit to give away. So, good stuff there. Hope you guys all enjoyed the stream, and thank you so much, Cassidy, for joining me for this recap.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Stuff. And of course, make sure you check out ckeys.org, everyone, and support that if you can. Good stuff going on there. And follow Cassidy, because she's kind of a goofball, and we love that kind of thing here.
I've got lots of jokes.
Yeah, she has some puns that are pulled out of places.
Yep.
Anyways, thanks to everyone that's been watching. We appreciate it, and make sure you catch this week's episode on the 9th for all those sweet, juicy giveaway details.
Oh man, can't wait.
Catch you guys there.
Talk to you later.